Hello everybody, this is Capis Games and welcome back to Crossout 101. Today we're gonna cover on how exactly the matchmaking works in Crossout. And I'm gonna give it a second to load up. Here we go. This is a vehicle just under 2500 power score. Let's see what we got in the setup. This guy's being rude. Okay, so we got 3900, 2200, 2226. So all got pretty balanced setups, so around 500 to 600 power score difference. So this is pretty balanced. As long as all the parts in the game are power score balanced to their own power score, then everything is fine. I need to destroy this guy before he deals too much damage. There we go. That guy didn't pay attention to me, so he paid the price. Again, if he had attacked me, I would have been dead instantly. And I mean, that was actually luck. I hit the drones, otherwise I would be dead as well. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, this power score bracket currently is pretty balanced. It's not that much difference. That's the main advantage of low tier. Having a lot of players means that you don't have like that much power score difference. There we go. Let's defend base for a moment. Charge up the cannon. I don't have that much ammo. Fired quite a few shots already. Let's see, I heard fire from there. So we got 2 AIs and 1 guy that has shotguns. Or at least 1 shotgun. This guy's a problem. That's an armored car, which is gonna kill me pretty fast. As you can see, like, in my opinion, it's pretty balanced. I mean, that guy killed me pretty easily. And I could kill guys pretty easily, so, like, it's fair play. So, and let's compare that to something at top tier. So, let's load up this thing. Oh, excuse, I don't have to use for it. That's this one. And let's go into battle at top tier, and let's see how much the power score difference is right there. So remember, guys, the most spread at the last match was around 600. So that's the entire spread of the entire match. So I'm gonna give it a second until it loads. And also, after this match, I'll be like going over how much power score of this vehicle is used on actual weapons, and the cabin, the modules, and the hovers, because that is actually what is like what's the basic setup. Everything else is like more or less like added parts. Here again, I'm 12,000 power score. Here's a guy at 8.9, 8.5, 7.6 even. That's the lowest we got. There are 2 clans, 2 groups of Nova clan right there, but looks fit. That's one thing that I have to say that needs to be fixed. That there shouldn't be like 2 groups of the same clan in one battle. But nonetheless, I mean, 7.6,000 to 12,000. A lot of people will scream that I would be overpowered because I'm at 12,000 power score. But after this match, I'm gonna show you guys what it actually for effect it actually has. What difference is he compared to me? And I forgot I cannot make that jump. Grab. It's time to run away from me. Guys start dropping behind me. Oh, there's another tsunami guy. Oversteered. Crap. Ah, crud. There goes my health. Cool. So I can still like stakes of it. Probably gonna die in a moment. Because everybody like cheating on me. So this Mesm guy killed me. Mesm is 10,000 power score. That's 2,000 power score, pretty different. He didn't have an issue with that. So let's quickly go return to the garage. So this thing uses the basics following setup. So this is the absolute base of what this thing is. So like this, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. Then we put on the cabin in the center. Put up the guns. So, put the generator in the back. The engine. And then the hovers. Now you can see everything that I was using to kill him effectively is almost 1,000, almost 8,000 power score. So anything beyond this is purely armor, and purely I like the armor doesn't do anything against the enemy, of course. So I mean, I could go into battle with this thing, and I might actually die pretty quickly. But in offensive power and in mobility overall, I will not be more powerful. And how long the guns will last will be the same as well. So even if I would add like 3,000 armor around this thing, if I didn't armor the guns, they will be shot off pretty damn fast, and it will be like one plump of metal, as I like talked about in the last video. So that's something like about optimizing your build again, but in this case it's not really that much of a problem, because the matchmaker goes as follows. At the first 2,000 to 3,000 power score, you get a bracket of around 600 to 1,000. At 3,000 to 4,000, it easily gets to just over 1,000 to like 1,200 to 1,300. Up to about 5,000. At stay under 5,000, you'll be pretty much in the clear. But once you go above 5,000, matchmaker can say bye bye. Legitimate, just to say bye bye. Above if you are above 5,000, and especially if you're above 6,000, you'll have an easy chance to finding guys that are 12,000 power score, like I showed in the last one. It's not that this thing is necessarily more powerful. If you got an optimized build that is 7 or 8,000 power score, you'll be fine as well. I mean, you can take this thing on and you'll possibly beat it, because this thing is legitimately over-engineered to have as much health as possible. But at the cost of this thing being so sluggish, it's almost impossible to use in an actual battle. So that's the reason why, in my opinion, the high tier is pretty damn balanced. I mean, I've been playing for quite a while at around 7,000-8,000 as well, and I didn't have any issues whatsoever. And that's that. Next on are, of course, raids. Raids have a minimum requirements. The cargo raids and highs, like the easy ones, are not they cost 20 fuel here, do not have any power score minimum. So they can be paid by any people. And you have to be like, if you're lucky, you'll get like one guy that's above 3,000 or even maybe above 5,000 power score that will carry you, and that will be of course easy copper. Next up are the medium raids. It's need level 10 with engineers, at least 3,000 power score, 40 fuel, and then like 3 or 4 people. That's that. Even at this thing, I suggest not going just at 3,000. 3,000 is the absolute minimum here. I would suggest going for at least 4,000 power score if you want to do normal difficulty raids without slowing the enemy down, or like slowing your allies down. And then finally hard ones are minimum 4,000, but I would say at least 5,000 and maybe even 6,000 power score before entering this one, if you do not want to be carried by your teammates. And of course, those teammates are gonna complain about noobs in this game mode, because the minimum power requirement is rather low, and it's also kind of like only one guy can be at this low, and the other guys needs to be at least 1,000 or 2 or more thousand power score higher to make up for that. Also, these ones also need at least level 5 with either lunatics, nomads, or scavengers, which is also a rather like big requirement. Last up is innovation. Innovation might have the same requirements as medium raids, being level 10 engineers and 3,000 power score. They might as well be one of the hardest like grinding units of them all. Because I would say your minimum power score on invasion should be 7.5 thousand. Okay, the difficulty of the vehicles, like the Leviathans, are scaled with how good your team is. So basically, the first Leviathan is gonna be like 50% of your current power score. So let's say if you have four guys of 3,000 power score, instead of 12,000 power score of your entire team. And the first Leviathan is gonna be as close to 6,000 power score as possible. So it's gonna be one of them that's active and deployed, like this thing is. Actually, this thing not is. There we go. That's better. And it's gonna pick it. This thing is 21,000, so it's a little bit of a different tier. But that aside, um, these monstrosities. If you're for 3,000 people's teams, the first one is gonna be 6,000. The second one is gonna be 75% of the total team power score, which is gonna be then 9,000, and then the third one is gonna be 100%, which is gonna be a total of 12,000. So there is still a kind of like a need for low tier Leviathans. They might be able to get one or two matches, but because there's nobody that has a vehicle close to 6 to maybe 8 or 9,000 power score on as a Leviathan being, a lot of those low tier people will be getting the like replacement, which is gonna be the Steel Tyrant. The Steel Tyrant is gonna be this monstrous machine that's on here. 4 tracks, I think 4 mammoths, and a lot of these small repair autocannons. And of course they will complain about how overpowered it is, but it's because there's no player made one that's actually there. Because at the higher tiers, the players that all have like 12,000 power score on all their rigs are mostly facing vehicles that have either a shit ton of little boys, or fatmans, or mammoths. Because those things are so hard to shoot off, and their damage output is really high, and like in volleys against a single target. So that's and because of that reason, they are really good on like Leviathans. That's also one of the reasons why I simply went for cannon spam on mine. Because if I get a full volley of all these cannons off on one guy, I will most likely kill it outright. And if it's aimed at the actual like tower, it will probably die in one shot as well. So that's the kind of the danger of this vehicle. But that said, I do certainly suggest getting a 4-man squad of at least 7.5 thousand power score people with a lot of high damage parts, and a dedicated invasion rig. For dedicated invasion rig, you can check out my Crossout 101 um, videos, and go a little bit like into one of the older videos. There's going to be one about invasions, and it's going to explain a little bit more about invasion, about how the reward system is on invasion, because it's different than the normal ones, like the normal raids other than the invasion, and how to like perform best at it. Next up is Brawls. Brawls do not have matchmakers, period. They simply take the first X amount of people. So this guy, there's 8, so I think it's all like 8 people, and they are literally just not gonna do anything else. So I'm gonna load in La Monstra, and I'm gonna try to do one of these storm warnings. Oh really? Wow, it literally just closed, man. Ah, that's sad. Oh, well, never mind that then. Rip. But in these ones, you literally don't have a matchmaker. You get 8 random people, and that's it. The Big Pack Scorpion is then the most balanced one, because everybody gets the same ride. Because of that, I personally like the Big Pack Scorpions the most. I haven't played Fever or Storm Warning in a long time, and I actually never played Race at all. So I still have to like check them out and like how they perform. But Big Pack Scorpion is a pretty fun game mode, because if you win, you can get 120 scrap battle and a Found in the Wasted Crate, which is worth around like 5 to 6 coins total, like this total package for one match. And you also get like this test dummy fragments, which you can also sell, and maybe otherwise get the paint for. For race, you have to get a really fast ride. You cannot use any weapons. Storm Warning, you got a Storm, it's just a free for all game mode. This one is a free for all game mode where you have to get 10 kills. Also, pretty funny if you could look at this one, you got this cabin right here, and then you got actually the hood of a huntsman cabin. So that's kind of a hint to like they maybe, and actually this one as well because that's cut off in the rear section, that they might add separate parts of the cabin as separate like buildable parts. That would actually be pretty interesting. But yeah, these brawls are pretty much like do at your own risk. Pretty much, you choose to play a free for all game mode, then you're just gonna face the best vehicles that everybody made. And that's really just it. Nobody's gonna go easy on you. I mean, for star warming, yes, you can go for a low power score vehicle that's gonna evade everybody and try to stay ahead of the storm and like survive as long as possible because it's like fly out of the map, so people do not like cannot take them out before they get taken out by the storm, stuff like that. And like free for all, just get yourself a strong vehicle and nuke everybody. You cannot really do anything else there. It's really just do it at your own peril. Clan Wars is pretty much the same system, however, it is kind of like an elo system. If you win more matches here, you get higher in the tournament, and like at a higher place. And if you let's say if you're at a place 300, you're gonna face people that are like 350 to 450. Let's say around that, but probably much tighter. So let's say 310 to 290, around there probably. But at the top tier, if you're like place 10, you can face people from group 1 to like 20. So you're gonna face the strongest people out of all the groups. And of course, those are gonna be probably gonna be harder to deal with than the players at 300, like around 300. Also because the higher tier ones have better cooperation and have better like general teamwork and weapon setups. Same goes for ranked. How the higher place you get, the better the enemies become. However, here you do not have teamwork like in the normal way as in Clan Wars, because in Clan Wars you probably have like an external voice chat program that you're gonna run. But in this game mode, you have to like mainly work with just the push to talk system. However, the push to talk is heard by I think everybody in the match, not just your allies, and just your normal chat. Again, ranked, clans, and brawls all do not have any matchmaker. So it's possible if you're at a clan, you work together pretty well, and you have let's say 7.5 thousand power per vehicle, so you get up pretty high because you guys working together. You might actually face a clan that is not really working together, or is not really just that active, that just simply doesn't play that much. It's around the same rank, but has like 10 to 12,000 power per vehicles. Those will possibly like stomp you, but they in comparison have won just as much matches as you have. And at some point they are gonna face one of those groups as well, and then they have like either a fair fight or they will get stumped themselves. Again, same with ranked. You can face either really weak power score vehicles, especially if you're like low tier. I haven't played this like at all. That's why I'm like this low rank. Why I have like this atrocity of a vehicle. But yeah, I mean, you literally cannot complain about these ones matchmakers because they're literally on purposely not doing any matchmaking. For missions, again, everything above 5 to 6,000 power score, everything above that is matchmaker free. So that's also like a little bit like a brawl free for all mode, but then at larger teams. If you want to get as balanced power like matchmaking as possible, stick to around 3 to 4,000 power score. That's really is the most balanced place to be. Raids, I personally say go as high as power score as possible. You do not get punished for it. Only in invasion you get stronger opponents, so you make sure to have an optimized build. But again, do not go under 7.5 thousand power score for invasion, because weaponry wise you will simply not cut it. But that's it. I want to thank you guys all very much for watching again, and I will catch you guys all later. Bye bye.